And so as I kind of looked into, my demographic, veterans and things like that, I found that, 22 veterans take their own lives every single day.
What's shaking? Welcome back to All In. I'm Rick Jordan. That's the first time I've ever done that. Don't worry about that because that was a little weird. But hey, I'm Rick Jordan, and today I'm pumped because we've had a retired Navy SEAL on the show before. Today we have another retired Navy SEAL, and I'm so appreciative of these guys because we've got a lot of things that we're paid for with this country in blood, and these dudes I really appreciate because they take on the toughest of the tough. But he went through stuff in his life. We'll talk about that. But now he has a CBD company that's focused on the recovery of veterans and first responders. How awesome is that? He was with the SEALs for 26 years and a sniper instructor and served on teams that specialize in undersea ops. Pretty amazing. William Branum, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. When you said, "Hey, this is Rick," I was like, "Oh, then this is William." So, hey, yeah, thanks for having me.
You're ready to flex, right?
I wasn't sure when I was supposed to talk or not. So,
that's phenomenal. We, when I had Larry on, who's a friend of mine, we were like both ready to take off our shirts too at one point in time just to get things rolling.
Just
but
get fired up. Let's do it.
Exactly, my man. So, you've been through stuff. Stuff, exactly. But you spent 26 years, man, in the service as a Navy SEAL for this amazing country of ours, and thank you for serving. I know it's not something that really.
It was my pleasure, for sure.
That's awesome, dude. You've got a fantastic smile too. I love it.
I have some lighting that helps enhance my features.
Oh, that's. I was just dinking around with the lighting in here too a little bit. I'm like, I need to have like the side shot that has like a little bit darker, so I look a little bit more profound.
I'm not quite that advanced, but I was traveling last 2 weeks ago. I did 10 days around the U.S. and I knew that I was going to be interviewed on Newsmax at like 5 a.m, California time.
Oh, nice.
And I live in first time I was interviewed, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning or 2:30 in the morning. Oh, God. And I noticed like both times I didn't have enough light. So I went out before that Newsmax interview a couple weeks ago when I was in California, and I bought this little handheld light that was like $70. I'm like, it's going to be dark. I don't want to look like I'm in a cave somewhere. So I just like turned that thing on really quickly just to see if it works.
Yeah, right on.
And it works well. Amazing, apparently. Yeah.
I know, it shows off the white in the teeth. I like it. Dude, you were a sniper instructor. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. It was a good job. I like that job.
Yeah.
It's hard work though. It's extremely hard work. Yeah.
Yeah. You see, I mean, the only thing I know about that is just things that I've read, self-education, because I'm sure the movies don't even do it justice when it comes to that. Like wind speed, direction, all that stuff, and it's the sniper instructor, though, is that because you were a SEAL, right? So in order to be a sniper within the SEAL, is that like another special?
It's a whole nother, it's a school that you go to. So you go to BUD/S, you graduate. And then when I went through, which was a few years ago, we had you showed up first you went to Army jump school. So you learned how to fall down for 3 weeks before they let you jump out of a plane. And then you go to the team, and then they put you through 4 months of sort of advanced training. So BUD/S is just a selection process. The first phase, they put you through, and they're just trying to grind you out to see who has the guts, the grit to stay. And then you learn how to dive. And then you learn how to blow stuff up and do some basic land warfare tactics, but they're the most basic tactics that you could possibly do. And then you go to this other block of training. We did throw grenades, which was kind of cool. Kind of anticlimactic. It's like you don't get to watch it blow up because it could, shrapnel could. It's not good. But and then you go to this other. It's called SEAL Tactical Training, and you learn more advanced tactics so that when you actually go back to the SEAL team, you're not a complete idiot as far as tactics go when you get into a SEAL platoon.
Oh, so interesting, man. And then when you become a sniper, that's just separate even after that. So you go through everything else first. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are all these other specialty schools. So the SEAL teams are different from like the Green Berets or the Marine Recon or whatever, they're MARSOC or any of the other special operations, because, in the Army, if you're a comms guy or you're a medic, you're only that. In the SEAL teams, you can be a medic, you can be a comms guy, you can be a sniper, you can be a breacher, you can be a JTAC, which is the guy that calls in bombs from air. You can be all of these things. And, I was a sniper, but most of my career, I was living in leadership positions. So I didn't carry a sniper rifle all the time. When I went to sniper school, so I went to sniper school pretty early. I got lucky. But I'm going to tell you that school was as hard as buds, just in a different way. I mean, you're up at 5 a.m, working out, doing runs. We culminate the, sniper training, on I think a 10 mile run. So we're running 7-8 miles a day, 4 days a week. You get up, you do, calisthenics. And the idea is to be able to lower your heart rate, be in very good physical fitness in order to lower your heart rate in order to take the shot. But honestly, being in sniper school and teaching sniper school, the shooting piece, although it's very important, and when you have to take a shot, you should not ever miss. But shooting is really only a small fraction of what you do and what you learn while in sniper school.
It's conditioning, right? Mental and physical conditioning for the most part.
And there's all these other skills, range estimation, camouflage, observation. So being able to see things out in the world that other people wouldn't see, remembering things. They'll throw 10 items on the table, and then you look at them. You have 60 seconds to look at them, and then 5 minutes later they'll say, "Okay, now write down those 10 items." You can't talk about it. You can't say anything. You just have to figure out the skills to remember those things. Or as you get better, the challenges get harder. And so they would play a clip from a movie, like a 60-second clip, and they tell you these are the things that you're looking for. Or actually, they won't even tell you that. You just have to remember everything that happens, every detail that happens in that 60-second or 2-minute movie clip. And then you go to the range and you shoot all day and you do some other stuff, and then come back that night and they're like, "Okay, tell me what kind of this, what was this? What color was the car? How many?" And ask very specific questions to that movie clip. And so you build up to that. But in the beginning, it's super hard to do. I didn't have those skills before I went there.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I went back and I was able to teach those skills. So that was very gratifying, but it was still a lot of work.
That's awesome. Because I'm relating this to, because I'm in cybersecurity, and I'm relating this to a lot of things that I teach my team, because you look at a lot of the techs in cybersecurity, and that's what they do. They think it's all, firewalls and, just diving into systems and all these other things. When, I've had training from the CIA in surveillance and elicitation. So when it comes to those, it's I always look at, okay, what's the motive of the attacker? Right now, because if we understand the motive and the psychology behind it, then we can actually start to formulate and get ahead of this breach, so we know where they're going. Why were they in there to begin with? How long was the foothold there? There was even one where there was it was an insider threat, and there was a fire on the floor of a law firm that's a client. And as my team is explaining all this, because there was severe data loss, of course, from the fire, right? And I'm thinking, they're talking yeah, it was so weird because the water cooler was 6 feet over. I'm like, time out. You have a photo of that? And they showed it from the security camera. It's okay, where was the motivation? Because where was this thing? And it was an arsonist that did the whole thing. It wasn't just a water cooler that actually started the fire. It was somebody that started the fire within the water cooler from a short. And that's what the photo showed. It was just interesting because that's all cybersecurity that nobody ever thinks about. Just like what you're saying with sniper school, or
so many layers and levels, and it's not just firewall, attacker, block.
Yeah, exactly.
Many layers to it.
For sure. And, you were in this for 26 years, and we'll move on to some of the CBD stuff, and actually a lot of the CBD stuff in just a sec, because you went through some tragedy too. I was reading about you, and just some hard times, with alcohol, prescription drugs, and trying to suppress some things. But,
sure.
It's no doubt, because I know that when you serve in this capacity, sometimes it can do some things to you. But you will also specialize in undersea ops, and am I reading this right? Missions that needed approval from POTUS in order to make this happen?
Right. Yeah. So my very first SEAL team, which was a SEAL delivery vehicle. So everybody wants to go to the SEAL teams where you're doing all the high speed cool stuff. I ended up going to, voluntold to go to the SDV team.
Voluntold.
and they're orders, they're not invitations. So, I went there. I met some amazing mentors and friends who I still have today. But our mission was not to go as like a big giant SEAL platoon or task unit and take down targets and things like that. The mission was more reconnaissance, which actually helped me get to sniper school much earlier in my career. But we have this mini submarine. It's full of water. You're on scuba or some sort of closed circuit or mixed gas rig, and you launch from a nuclear powered submarine. So there's submarines out there. They have a big garage on the back of it. You put the SDV, the SEAL delivery vehicle, in the back of that submarine. And then, the submarine goes underwater somewhere and somewhere in the world. And then when we get where we're going, you fill the garage up with water, you open up the hangar outer door, you pull the SDV out, 2 guys get up front, a driver, a pilot, and a navigator, and 4 guys get in the back. And then we go someplace and we do stuff, and then we come back. And the reason that those missions are approved by the President of the United States is because of the political sensitivity. Like, these are truly no-fail missions. Like, if you're compromised doing this stuff in these areas in the world, that's a bad day. Press, it's not going to look good for you. So
yeah, for sure. No doubt. And I really appreciate you for doing that too, because there's a lot of things that have to happen that a lot of people just don't understand the need behind it, because it's volatile territory, and I'm not going to get on a political soapbox, but I just appreciate, I appreciate the things that happen undercover. That's all I'll say, because I don't need to know exactly what they are, but I know that there's a necessity for that in the world. Especially
there's a lot of people that don't like what the U.S. stands for.
Yeah.
So they're always trying to find the best way to bring us down.
For sure, no doubt. But at the same time, even in the scenario, whether you agree with a lot of this right now, just the humanitarian side of even donating, we're donating 80 million vaccines to the world, to the cause, to that too. That's incredible. It's the same principle as when we send troops. It's the same motives and intentions. We send
millions and millions of dollars all over the world every year.
Yeah.
People just don't know what it is, and I don't really know. I've seen kind of behind the curtain on some stuff, and it's interesting. Like the strategic value of some of the partnerships and alliances that we make it's interesting.
For sure it is.
And again, most people have no idea what's going on or the purpose behind it. And I've had the opportunity to kind of look behind the curtain a little bit.
Right on. Yeah, for sure. Especially if it's something involving somebody like Kim Jong-un or whatever, that's right. For those things, we're trying to, it's not just even keeping America safe. Of course, it's in our self-interest to take action with something like that, but it's keeping that entire region safe and the billions of people that exist in that region too.
Yeah,
I appreciate the heart that you have and that a lot of people share in this country, my man. So you went through a lot of this stuff, and then you came out, because I was reading in your bio that you started your CBD company, right? Naked Warrior Recovery, but there was a mission behind that was very personal, right?
Yeah. So just to kind of talk about my journey to CBD. So 26 years of service, I have some baggage. I don't call it PTSD. I don't call it anything like that. I just call it baggage. Some of it's from work that I've done. Some of it is from toxic relationships. And I think there's so many of us in the world. And the more I kind of talk about it and I talk more specifics, people are like, yes, I have that same thing too. Yes, I have toxic relationships just like that. And, but I had a lot of noise in my head. And so the way that I was dealing with that noise is I was drinking myself to sleep every night. I would use prescription drugs to kind of just mask the noise, just to turn it off enough or quiet it enough so that I could go to sleep. And then, I'm not talking about, a little bit of alcohol. I was drinking a lot of alcohol, glasses of alcohol a night. Yeah. Just to okay, now I can go to sleep. I'm tired enough. My brain is not talking to me. So now I can go to sleep. And I'd heard about CBD before CBD was cool. In 2018, the passing of the Farm Bill, CBD became legal, hemp became legal, and then you see CBD popping up all over the place. So I was still in the military with a top secret clearance. I couldn't go down that road at all. And so when I retired, I was interested, but still afraid, because I'm also a child of Nancy Reagan's war on drugs, just say no. I've never had THC or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
there's been a stigma around this for a long, long time, too.
Yeah.
100%.
So I was in Virginia. I linked up with one of my old teammates who was in my very first platoon. He's still a little bit of a mentor of mine today. And I told him, hey, while I'm in town, I'm going to go see if I can find some CBD. And he was like, you want CBD? I've got some at home. Because he's a little bit of an Instagram influencer. And so people send him products all the time. So I took some CBD that night. Maybe I slept a little bit better that night, and I was maybe a little less pissed off the next morning. But over the 30 days, what I like to say is water boils at 212 degrees. And I was living my life at 210 degrees. There was a lot of stuff going on that was keeping me like very red hot. And it didn't take much. My fuse was very short. It didn't take long to hit that boiling point. But what I noticed after about 30 days of taking CBD was, I went from like 210 to 205 to 200 and 190. Maybe I ended around 180. It's not super quantifiable, but because when I took CBD, I didn't notice a whole lot. It wasn't like rainbows and unicorns and like I have this feeling of euphoria or anything like that. CBD was just maybe I slept a little bit better. I started monitoring my sleep, but what I noticed when I ran out was my fuse was longer. It took me longer to hit that boiling point. And I'm 100% disabled. I'm pretty beat up from my time in the service. And so I have all kinds of aches and pains. Some of them are sharp, some of them are dull. And what I noticed was there's a lot of those sharp pains were just less sharp. They didn't hurt as much. Still pain, more manageable. And so, I'm like, okay, that was awesome. Maybe I'm better, maybe not. Maybe it was placebo. And then stuff started coming back. I tried another brand of CBD. I had got similar results. And then I was at a business conference and I was very interested in the CBD industry. And I wanted to work for a CBD company. And I met a girl who had a CBD company. And she was like, why don't you just start your own company? And I was like, I don't know how to do that. She's like, you're a Navy SEAL, for crying out loud. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yes.
I'll figure it out.
Man up, dude.
Yeah, I was going to throw some profanity in there, but yeah.
Were you already at 210 at that point, or were you?
Yeah, I was like, my ego deflated. So, and also sort of part of that whole business summit, I started to learn about business because I didn't know anything about business. And I learned, like, what's your why? Like, if you're going to start a company, you need to have a mission, a purpose. And so as I looked at myself and I looked at like what I've gone through in trauma and relationships and what have you, I found that my why is to heal other people that have the same issues as me, not my specific issues, but the same. There's lots of people living in that 200, 210 degree, 211 degree, much closer to boiling, or they wake up in the morning and they're there. Yeah. And so as I kind of looked into, my demographic, veterans and things like that, I found that, 22 veterans take their own lives every single day. And actually the VA has done some new numbers and they think the number is closer to 26 now, 26 a day as of November of last year. Maybe COVID had something to do with that. We don't really know. But what our mission is at Naked Warrior Recovery is to take that 22 to 0. To go out and CBD was a modality. CBD is not like magic, magic pill, magic oil or anything like that. It's just a modality. I still had to do work on myself. I started to get my mind straight, but CBD was just something that helped me be a little less pissed off. And like I said, there wasn't like this magical thing that happens when you take it. It's just like over time, I was able to have better self-talk. I was able to not pick up that bottle of booze to help myself go to sleep. I was able to start working out again. I was able to start focusing on me and figuring out why do I have these thoughts in my head? And so, also from there, I created a bit of a mindset, and the mindset is really about get naked, because we go through life and we get attacked. Maybe it's a toxic relationship, maybe it's a romantic thing, maybe it's something at work, a family member or whatever. And we end up, having to put on this armor because we feel like we're being attacked. And pain is cumulative. So if I tap you on the shoulder, for 5 minutes, it's not going to be a big deal. But if I'm tapping you for an hour, it's going to start to bug you. And like, if I keep doing that for the next couple of days, you're going to have this giant bruise on your arm, like your whole arm is going to be black and blue. But I was just barely tapping you on the arm. Not a big deal. Like a cyber attack. I'm just trying to tap it in, trying to get in. And so that takes us all the way up to that boiling point. It's like not a big deal in the beginning. And if you look at just the one event, and it could be an email, a text, the way someone looked at you, you saw something on social media, you saw something on the news, and like, you're like, boom, I'm out of control. So we're wearing this armor around. We're wearing like other crap that other people put on us. And what I found is I had to take my ego off. I had to take all that crap, all that baggage that other people put on me. I had to take it off and put it in the corner. I found that, in the SEAL teams, we put our armor on to go into harm's way. We do a mission, we come back, we take our armor off, we hit the showers, we rest, recover, we get ready for the next mission. In life, we don't do that. We keep that armor on. We keep being defensive. And so we start to fester underneath that ego. And so what we have to do is we have to take that armor off. We have to get naked. We have to become vulnerable. We have to expose ourselves in order to find that healing and that recovery. And so I've also kind of, I talked about my mentality and my poor self-talk and good self-talk. I also turned naked into kind of an acronym, something easy to remember. The N is to never quit. The A is accept failure because failure is inevitable. The K is to kill mediocrity. The E is expose your fears, and the D is do the work, because it's all work. And this is sort of the SEAL mindset that I've also kind of created. Get naked because you are a naked warrior.
Yeah, that was an incredible segment right there. And I love how you're talking about the armor too, and you related it back to your service, right? Being a SEAL there's an interesting dichotomy, right? And you talked about this because when you're a SEAL, you put your armor on, you go to the mission, then you come back, you take your armor off, you shower, you clean up. And I'm almost likening this to, because there's things about our jobs, right? There's things about what we do day by day. There's things about our relationships, and it's a choice to put that armor on in the first place. I would feel anyways, but almost we feel like in the moment, we probably have no choice because of what's coming at us. Would you agree with that?
Right. Yeah. So you go to work or you go meet someone and you're going to battle, you're going to war. And, it could be the secretary or the real estate agent. They're fighting for, different things, fighting for attention of customers, fighting with disgruntled people. And so they're like, oh, don the armor, let's go. We're going to battle. We're going to war. Stay-at-home mom, still the same thing, with like kids and learning and school and schedules and personal time. And, we all, every single one of us goes into battle every single day. And we don't recognize it. And we end up like, we may get up in the morning, we already have our armor on, and we, go out there and we engage in combat, and then we come back and we're still like stuck. And that's what happens to a lot of veterans, is we're still stuck in this like combat mode. And, we come back from a deployment and we don't have like the support system and we don't know how to turn it off. But it also happens to everyday people. You don't have to be a veteran, first responders. Oh my God, those guys, they're under attack 24/7. And so we have to learn how to take our ego off, turn off that, like, let's go to war mode. Like when you get home and you're like in a safe place, take your armor off. And I was actually talking to a friend of mine, Bedros Koulian, and, he said that I was having kind of this similar conversation, and he said, his therapist told him, like, before you come in the house, like how you walk from your truck and get to your house, I want you to think about like taking that suit of armor off, take that helmet off, and like just mentally like go through the process of like take your helmet off and set it down. Take your gauntlet gloves and like each one and set them down. Like as you're walking to the door, take your chest plate off, take off the suit of armor that you were wearing all day as you're trying to grow your business and blow your brand up. And so the first couple of times he came home, he like went through that mode, and then he was like friendly when he came in the door. He's like, his family, they were like, whoa, when's the next shoe going to drop? I'm not sure I'm cool with what's going on right now. Even though you're a better person, I'm not sure I like it. And so he goes through that routine every day. And when you do new things, they're hard in the beginning, but the more you do it, the more practice you have at doing it, the easier those things get. And so for all of us, you just have to think about get naked every day. So I think about like, take my armor off and like, now I can relax. When I'm wearing armor, it's go mode. It's time. We're going into battle. But when it's time to rest and recover, you take the armor off, like physically, mentally, however you do it. Maybe you just take all your clothes off and walk around your house, whatever you want to do. And get naked, expose yourself, be vulnerable, because like I never believed in being vulnerable. I never believed in looking weak or feeling weak, because someone may make fun of me and that would hurt my ego. And as I saw people that I had great respect for become vulnerable in front of me, I was like, that actually looks kind of cool. And you're much braver than I am. And so I wasn't brave enough to be vulnerable ever in my life. And it took me, going through like mental tragedy to find the bravery to become vulnerable. It's amazing how much courage it takes to be vulnerable sometimes and get naked. And
for sure. You're even saying too, which is, I think key, you were, when you get out of that scenario to where you feel like you can take your armor off, go to a safe place. And I'm thinking, what if someone doesn't have a safe place to go to even take that off?
Sometimes it's just in your car, when you change your environment. And right now I'm not allowed to leave my house. But I do
like the air quotes,
according to the state of Hawaii. But I like getting in my truck and just driving. I mean, I live on a rock in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, so I can't drive far or distance wise, but I can just get in and I can drive. I can put a podcast on, I can put music on, I can put something on to change my mindset, the state where I am, and I can be completely vulnerable in there. And sometimes I'll just like I don't know, it's like a video diary, video blog. I don't post it anywhere, but I like put my stuff just comes pouring out of my head that I don't talk about in front of other people, or I can practice, if I want to like memorize Teddy Roosevelt's Man in the Arena, that's a perfect time to like, no one's going to make fun of you or look at you funny or think weird thoughts when you're talking to yourself and trying to recite these things while you're driving. So I believe the car alone is a great place to be kind of vulnerable.
Yeah. Any place just wherever that place is. And it would probably take some effort for some too, to even find where that safe place is. Sure. And but that's the work on it. I love how you're saying that CBD is not like the magic pill. Right?
It's absolutely not. It's a modality to help you get there. I still use it today. I need less now, but some days I need a lot more. But I still take it every day just because there's the reason that CBD seems like it's a panacea and why it works so well for so many people is because, number one, it's been a medicine for thousands of years through the hemp plant. But how it works with the body is all mammals have what's called an endocannabinoid system. And this is new science. And I've talked to a bunch of doctors in the last year, and they're like, they didn't teach us about this in med school. Yeah, but as they're doing like this continuing ed, they're learning more about it. And so the endocannabinoid system is a giant neuroreceptor that's connected to every other system in your body. Think your respiratory system, your central nervous system, your immune system, your digestive system is connected to everything. And what happens, your body also creates natural endogenous cannabinoids. So you create anandamide, which is the bliss molecule, which is actually very similar to THC, and it's associated with the runner's high and the upregulation of serotonin, so you feel good.
Dude, I love the runner's high. I don't run, but when I lift, I get it, man. It's like 35 minutes in.
Amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And but there's like this point where you have to like suck it up a little bit, that like old man warm up period where I really,
the ramp. I know that. Right?
Oh,
it's
my God.
I need to get between the window of 25 to 35 minutes and I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. And in SEAL training, I don't know how I figured this out, but I was like, so we would do these 4-mile timed runs, and you have to do it it's an 8-minute mile in the beginning, and then it gets progressively shorter. And I'm like, dude, I hate running. And you run a lot in SEAL training. And I thought I liked running until I actually had to do it for my job. And I was like, this sucks.
Yeah,
but
I don't have to do it for my job, but I still think it sucks. Okay. Yeah.
And so what I found out when I was doing these 4-mile timed runs is what I would do is I would, about halfway through, I would feel more like running. And like that's about 15 minutes in. So what I started to do is I just started I would, kind of stretch out, and I was younger, so I didn't have as many issues, or maybe because I didn't stretch well enough, I have the issues that I have now. But I would just they would say, go. And I would just sprint for about 400 yards. I'm like, oh my God, I have to slow down. My heart's going to blow through my chest. And I would kind of get through that suck factor just a little bit sooner so that I could actually be in a comfortable stride and still run at a pretty reasonable pace. So I forgot where I was going with that. There was a point to it.
The bliss.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we all have this endocannabinoid system. It's connected to every other system in our body. But sometimes we don't make enough of these endogenous cannabinoids, because these endogenous cannabinoids, they're what feed the endocannabinoid system. They're what keep it in homeostasis. So if you have one system that's out of balance, it'll pull all the other systems out of balance through the endocannabinoid system. And so CBD is sort of like the super multivitamin for the endocannabinoid system. So just think about a door with 10,000 locks on it, and if you don't open it and close it every day, unlock every lock, then they start to rust shut. If you don't have enough keys to unlock that door every single day, then it's not going to work properly. So CBD goes in and it fills in those. It's shaped like the keyhole. It goes in there, it unlocks the locks, helps open the door, close the door, and keep it working every day. And so that's why CBD seems like it's sort of this panacea, because it brings the body back into homeostasis, but it's not curing anything. It's helping the body bring it back to where it needs to be in order for the body to heal itself.
Why wouldn't we produce the amount of cannabinoids that we need for our system? What would cause
chronic that? So stress, environments, toxins, all sorts of stuff that surrounds us affects the endocannabinoid system. So sometimes it gets more out of whack than other times. Maybe you have Lyme disease or something. Maybe you have from a tick bite or whatever. There's, germs. There's germs everywhere. There's pollution everywhere. All that stuff affects our endocannabinoid system. And so it'll get out of balance. It'll get out of whack. And so CBD is just one of those things that just helps support it. I mean, we don't make enough vitamin D unless we get out in the sun. We don't make vitamin C endogenously. That's something that we have to consume. So there's all sorts of things that the body needs that we don't make enough of, or any of, every day, or unless we're in the right environments. So it's critical that, we supplement with the things that our body needs.
For sure. I'm sure downing too much alcohol, or, being in a bad relationship with the
kills
stress.
All that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Stress has such an effect on the body. I saw a study yesterday that showed that you could actually reverse early graying of your hair by reducing the stress in your life.
Wow.
Because it affects your mitochondria. The mitochondria affect that graying action in the follicle. And so if you're able to reduce enough stress in your life, you're able to reverse some of the graying if you catch it early enough, or you start reducing that stress early enough in your life.
Talk to me. What's early enough? Because I got some going.
me too.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, for real, what's the age? No, I'm kidding. Okay.
It's an early study, so it was interesting to read that. So
we need to test this, William. That's something we need to figure out here.
I agree.
Dude, there's so much of what you're saying that's resonating, because I see a lot of people. I mean, I'm in an entrepreneur world, right? And there's so much to where there's this embrace the suck kind of mentality that exists, right? And there's almost a lot of entrepreneurs feel like there's no safe place, but then a lot of people that have the 9-to-5 jobs also feel like there's no safe place, because they'll work, then they'll go home to a bad relationship after they punch out, and they're just always in this defensive mode, and they just keep their armor on. and it sounds like CBD can be something to where it helps reduce, not eliminates, but reduces to the point. It's like, you call it a modality, but gets it to where you actually feel okay with working on yourself. Because dude, if you were sitting at, because your emotions that were manifesting, right, were anger and rage, I'm assuming. If it was 200, if you were 210 and the boiling point's 212, if you were sitting at that 210 mark the whole time, but reducing that to the point to where you feel, okay, now I actually feel like I can do something about this, because nobody wants to, dude. If you're sitting in that environment to where that's all you can focus on is just the crap coming at you day in and day 100%. Out, and you're sitting there. So reducing,
and I'll still have some of those same triggers, and I'll, I always have CBD around. I mean, I have a CBD company. So, and when I'm like, I feel it coming, I'll just go get some and the oil tincture, I'll put it under my tongue, and I'll start to come back down. I'm still pissed off. Like, it's still something that pisses me off, but I'm just like that emotional, like, drive, just like it's more under control. And again, but like I said, CBD is a modality. It's not a cure. You still have to have positive self-talk, and you still have to like have that get naked mindset. And, kind of some of the stuff that you were talking about there, we in entrepreneurial world, in business world, in the like just everyday world, we're faced with these tasks that seem insurmountable. Like, people are like, how did you make it through SEAL training? Like, one step at a time, one bite at a time. How do you eat an elephant? It's the same thing. You just break up those tasks into manageable pieces. So in SEAL training, Hell Week is this most famous week of SEAL training, and it's really only like week number 4 of 6 months. And it actually took me 13 months to complete that 6-month block of training, because I got injured a couple times.
Oh, wow.
But if you just like, I remember like laying there in the ocean one night. They had us facing, generally you face the ocean, you lock arms and you lay back, and it's the whole class, and you're getting smashed around and you're shivering in the ocean. And because the people are like, oh, Southern California, super warm, sunny. that water's cold, dude. It is frigid. It will like numb your extremities quickly. But there's a couple months out of the year where it's not so cold. But almost the entire time I was there, it was frigid. But there was this one night where they had us facing the land, and they had us lay our head back on the sand, and the waves would come up and they like went in your face, and it picks up all this silty sand, and it like went up my nose. And now I'm like, I'm laying there like dry heaving, gagging on like silty sand, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. But I know like it's not going to last forever. In like an hour, I'm going to be in a hot shower, and then 30 minutes after that, I'm going to be in bed getting ready for the next day. So it was totally attainable. Like, I couldn't stay there for like 3 days with that happening, because that's just not possible. But the training is broken up into manageable pieces. It's just whether you want to be there or not. And we do the same thing. If we want to never quit something, you just break that project, that task, that event, that whatever, up into manageable pieces. Make it hard, make it challenging for the days that you're willing to put in that extra work, or maybe you do 2 of those pieces instead of only 1. But then there are going to be days where you just don't feel like doing it. You just do it anyway. It's not a big deal, because it's manageable. And then, I don't like to do things. Sometimes I get stuck, and I have to like just do one thing, and then just do one more thing. And once I get to the 3rd thing, I'm like, let's go. I need more stuff to do. I need more things to attack. But I think a lot of us, we just kind of get mediocre with life and social media and scrolling and Netflix and YouTube. And we don't really want to we're like, oh, I'm busy watching YouTube videos, I can't do that project. Well, yeah, you can. You just have to turn YouTube off. And so sometimes you have to start with smaller chunks in order to actually attack the project, and then kill that mediocrity in your life.
Dude, that's amazing advice. And I'm sure bringing that boiling point down too can help with that too, to the point to where you actually want to, or even can, where you're focusing on that. I appreciate what you're doing so much, man, because I feel it inside. I mean, even just thinking about the 22 a day, which is now more like 26 a day. Yeah. And I'm sure it means I know it means even more to you, because you've been there. I mean, these are your brothers and sisters.
My father is one of those veterans.
Oh, man.
And I had this mission, like he passed a lot, right after I graduated BUD/S, he took his own life. And I didn't really even think about it that way until I was already down this road, and I was like 22 a day. And then I was like, wait a minute, my dad is one of those 22.
Wow.
So then it means even more.
For sure. You're at Naked Warrior Recovery, right, on Instagram?
Yes, sir.
Everyone needs to follow you. And the website is nw-recovery.com. And William is available. Go ahead, bud.
It was, I made it NW-recovery because I didn't know if anyone wanted to write naked into their search engine. You can still write Naked Warrior Recovery and get to my website.
Dude, that's some good forethought right there. Yeah.
Mess up I made it Naked Warrior Recovery, and I was like, wait a minute, maybe people don't want to put naked in their thing, so let's do that.
That's like, I love naked juice, but if you go search for that, some not so good things come up, right?
Right, exactly. So yes. So I made that option as well. So the website is NW-recovery, but sometimes is it this way? Is it this way? Is it horizontal, sideways? Yeah. So you could write in Naked Warrior Recovery and still get there.
That's awesome. Brother, thank you for being on. Again, thank you for serving. And
yes,
we're
sir.
just going to blow this up for you because I appreciate what you're doing so much. Thank you for helping everybody that you come into contact with.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.